and Android.
Now at 9, Joplin council members step up to the plate to decide if your tax dollars should fund major turf upgrades. Plus, why mapping errors in Montgomery County could send voters to the wrong polling places this November.
The month of January is National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll have more on that coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin City Council members vote on a nearly $1.6 million plan to transform Joplin's aging sports facilities. This is KOAM News. I'm Tanya Bach. Council members passed the contract on first reading to replace the synthetic turf at Joe Becker and Wendell Redden stadiums. The project also includes new turf installation at 4 fields in the Gene Bassman softball complex, where the majority of the funding will be spent. Mid-America Sports Construction will handle the work, removing the old turf and installing new AstroTurf. The upgrades were approved by voters as part of the quarter-cent parks and stormwater sales tax in 2021. A Joplin Good Samaritan received special recognition at tonight's council meeting for saving a teenager's life. Joplin Fire Chief Gerald Ezell presented Mark Crandall with the Chief's Cross for his heroic actions during a house fire on South Pearl Street in December. Crandall had grabbed a ladder from his truck and rushed to help 15-year-old David Hatfield, who was trapped on a second-floor balcony.
I didn't see him at first because the smoke was so thick, and once the wind shifted, I seen the kid up there, and at that point there was no other option but to save the kid.
I told him I wish he'd stayed around so I could thank him, and he mentioned, forgive me, he'd mentioned that he needed to leave while the real heroes showed up. And while the firefighters are heroes, I would say Mr. Crandall is right there among them.
I have to wait till October of every year, but this was important enough and big enough that I thought, man, we've got to do this, and I want to do it at a council meeting so everybody in the city can see this.
The December 16th morning fire displaced multiple residents from the multi-unit house. One person was taken to the hospital and treated for smoke inhalation. Montgomery County officials scramble to fix a precinct mapping problem that could affect November's elections. KOAM's Anthony Saviello reports on the confusion and the race to find answers.
The standout moment at the county commissioners meeting took place in just the last 15 minutes when the GIS office, or Geographic Information System, brought forward documents and emails from the Kansas Secretary of State's office stating that the precinct lines within the county did not match what the state's has on file. Commissioner Robert Beaver asked where this issue was coming from. The response: no one was sure why the maps didn't align.
We didn't know exactly what the issues were, so now we're having to dig into them because I have no idea what the discrepancies are. We're mapping, we're not really doing precincts. We just move lines according to what we are told to move.
Then things got tense in the meeting chamber.
Right.
It's a clerk's deal. Clerks, you need to get on the state.
I've been talking to the state about this. They told me that I needed to get with our GIS because they usually are the ones that create the map for us.
That'd be the starting point. Have you got that?
I mean, we can start looking into it. I'm not really sure why we're having this meeting because I didn't really know what was needed to begin with. I've never gone through this
Because we're out, we haven't got it done, and they can't get the information from the clerk's office and you're new. I'm not fighting that. You don't know what you're doing on this. So let's get some help so you can figure it out going forward.
That's what
we're going to have to do.
That sounds great.
As it sits right now, the overarching issue is that the county's precinct lines don't align with what the state has on file. These discrepancies need to be fixed before elections take place this November. If not, the result could have lasting ramifications. Commissioner Beaver recommended that the clerk's office get with the Secretary of State's office to resolve the matter as soon as possible.
Thank you, Anthony. Further discussion will take place at next week's commissioner meeting. Meteorologist Austin Stantz joins us now with a first look at weather.
Thanks, Tanya. And winter's been a little shy this year. We have seen temperatures well above average, 68 degrees today, 44 degrees is our average. That puts, hey, look at that collar. Let's get that fixed there. There we go. Hey, and transitioned into another graphic too, simultaneously multitasking. All right, take a look. Temperatures right now across the region still very mild. We were today 24 degrees above average. Wow, that's crazy. So taking a look at what we can expect heading through the evening, we notice winds are still coming out of the south right now. That is great news for us, as we're going to see those temperatures continue to be mild and well above average heading into tomorrow. But I do have some storms to talk about that are on the way. Some of those could bring some heavy rainfall, some much needed rainfall, but we're keeping an eye on them because a couple may be strong. Details coming up.
Thanks, Austin. Well, January is National Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and local experts say education is key. KOAM's Kenny Foreman reports on the warning signs parents and children need to know.
Approximately 27.6 million people worldwide fall victim to human trafficking, according to the UN's International Labor Organization. For Prevention Resources Director at Life Choices Health Network, Chelsea Delgado, it's crucial to educate people on it as early as possible.
The average age of a trafficked victim in America is 11 to 14 for girls. And so when I teach in schools, that is the demographic that I'm teaching to. And they're very much still children. So I don't want to scare them, but I want them to understand that this is a real threat.
A major point of concern is an increased use of technology, especially when it comes to children. This can often put them more at risk when it comes to unwanted encounters.
What happens on the internet is real life, and it can stay around and haunt you for a long time. And so I want to make sure that we're critically thinking, both as parents and as children, about what our lives are online, and make sure that we're sharing what happens online with safe and trusted people.
Since human trafficking can occur in many different forms, some tend to get confused on what to look for.
When the media portrays perpetrators of human trafficking as people who are snatching people and kidnapping them and they're scary strangers, that can be misleading, because often people are trafficked by people who are already in their lives.
But for when there is suspected danger, the Joplin Police Department has a simple message.
See something, say something. We as law enforcement, we don't know anything until the public comes and tells us. It's always beneficial. We have tons of resources online. You can always contact your local police department. You can contact the Southwest Missouri Cybercrimes Task Force, the Human Trafficking Hotline, the FBI.
In Joplin, Kenny Foreman at KOAM News.
Those who are looking to make a difference are encouraged to get involved with the RISE Coalition, which consists of several different organizations and agencies. Well, coming up, a surge in flu cases.
Experts say the recent record holiday travel led to a rise in flu infections this season. I'm Garrett Tinney in Chicago. I've got more on what health experts recommend you do to protect yourself this winter. Coming up.
And later, how a $2 million grant aims to strengthen local food supply chains across Missouri and Kansas.
For your next job, visit KOAM or call 417-624-1040.
Public health officials are urging people across the U.S. to get their flu vaccine ahead of the season's peak. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention posted new data today showing surging flu infections over the holiday period. Fox News correspondent Garrett Tinney has the latest.
Influenza infections across the nation spiked over the holidays in a flu season that the CDC is classifying as moderately severe. The agency estimates that there have been at least 11 million illnesses, 120,000 hospitalizations, and 5,000 deaths. 9 flu-related pediatric deaths have also been reported so far this season.
There are no normal years. When it arrives with a bang and people get sick.
Some of that unpredictability in the current season comes from a new flu variant dubbed as the super flu. Symptoms can include high fever, body aches, extreme fatigue, and more.
This particular year, this variant, which is a subvariant of H3N2, it has several mutations in it that make it not a great match with the H3N2 strain that was included in the flu vaccine this year.
More than 90% of H3N2 infections include a subclade K variant, which wasn't included in this season's flu shots.
When a new strain of virus comes around, there's almost like a more severe illness from it.
Still, health experts say it's too early to tell whether the mismatch is a major problem. Despite that, they are urging everyone over the age of 6 months to still get their flu vaccine, which should reduce the risk of severe disease and hospitalization.
Vaccination is still very, very effective, even with the news of this new subclade K.
Some experts also say holiday travel, misinformation, and low vaccination rates are contributing to the high flu activity. So far, roughly 130 million doses of the flu shot have been given in the U.S. In Chicago, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Winter weather can trigger painful migraines. Cleveland Clinic experts say atmospheric changes can impact sinuses and can cause headaches. To prevent them, stay indoors when possible. If you must go outside, bundle up, especially your head and neck. Doctors also recommend maintaining consistent exercise and sleep routines to avoid stress-triggered migraines. Austin is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, is it time to start your garden?
Tips and tricks on how you can start preparing your plants for this season. I'm Nelly Lopez with more details on that coming up.
Makes the difference. Reach out to our care team to get started today.
Well, a gorgeous day has been followed by a mild evening here. We have this warm front that's going to pass off to our northeast here. That's going to bring some warmer conditions as we head into tomorrow. But we do have this surface trough here that could just bring a few sprinkles to start Tuesday morning, and a cold front that passes that is going to be fairly insignificant heading into tomorrow, as it's really not going to affect our temperatures there at all right now. Now, taking a look at what you're seeing here on your upper level flow, we're more in a zonal flow right now, in a slight ridge at the moment. That ridge going to continue to develop into tomorrow, and our flow is going to come out of the southwest, enhancing those warmer temperatures heading into tomorrow and into Wednesday. But we start to see a low pressure system develop here. Now, there is a misconception that low pressure causes troughs, but they actually coexist together. So basically what happens here is that we see a column of air that begins to rise, and then it spreads out in the atmosphere, known as air divergence. As that happens, that air spreads out, that column of air reduces, or that air mass reduces, and the atmosphere contracts. As that atmosphere contracts, pressure drops, and that's what we're seeing here as we see that U shape begin to develop here. That is the area of lower pressure, and we're seeing that pressure drop on this map here, our 500 millibar pressure map. Now, what we're noticing here off to the east is that we're seeing warm air advection. Advection is just traveling by wind. So we're seeing warm air traveling by wind. That helps lift that warm air into the atmosphere, allowing for the development of showers and thunderstorms to the east side of that low pressure. Off to the west side, we have the colder air that circulates around that. We have some snow on the west side of that, so we could even see maybe even a few isolated flurries heading into, as we head into Friday, Saturday, as that system begins to pass. Let's time some of this out for you here. Here's the opportunity for a sprinkle or two heading into our Tuesday, but that clears out. High pressure moves in, keeps us clear through Tuesday and into Wednesday here. And then heading into Wednesday evening, winds shift back out of the south. That's going to bring in the opportunity to see some moisture increase here. So we see the development of some cloud cover, becoming overcast heading into our Wednesday evening, and then showers and thunderstorm development here. So this is important. Timing is very important here, and the track of the system is going to depend on how much rainfall we see. So the next 24 hours are crucial in data collection here. Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast and what you can expect. Showers and thunderstorms arriving Thursday, widespread coverage there. Almost everyone expected to see some rainfall. Friday, the back edge of that system, a wintry mix, can't be completely ruled out. Things clear out Saturday and Sunday. We're back into the 50s. And then we have, our weather camera here in the weather center that is blocking the rest of our view. And you can see me again there. So there we are for your 10-day forecast on there. We're back into the 40s or more reasonable temperatures late next week.
A lot going on in the forecast, that's for sure.
Absolutely, including me.
Yeah, the best part. All right, thanks, Austin. Well, there are a few plants that can be planted this early in the year, but it takes more than weather to help them grow. KOAM's Nelly Lopez shows us the beginning steps you need to take and how to help keep your garden alive.
These are also really good for starting like pansies, violas, stuff like that for your flowers.
Seed trays are a great way to start prepping your flower seeds, but also several vegetable seeds, as you can keep them in your home and they just need a source of heat. But there are some plants that are ready for this weather.
It's going to be the fruit trees mainly, primarily, because we really want to get them into the ground now so you can take advantage of any snow we get. Nitrogen is like one of the best fertilizers you can get. It's natural. Not only that, but you're getting the snow, which is helping it get acclimated. Really good watering from the snow.
Water, a very important necessity for all, even for plants.
And a lot of people think they don't have to water their plants in the winter. And there's been a lot of perennial die-off due to having these drier winters. So we're advising all of our clients to go ahead and make sure they're supplement watering throughout these drier times in the winter months.
Another prepping tip before you start adding your plants to your garden is testing the soil.
Very important to know your plants if they're alkaline or if they're acidic or if they're kind of like can go a little bit each way on where you plant them in your gardens.
But of course, every gardener has a unique trick up their sleeve.
My grandparents taught me this rule. I've learned to abide by it. Every time I tried not to abide by it, it doesn't work out. And that is no planting of the vegetable garden until after Good Friday.
So start prepping your seeds. Make sure you test the soil for alkaline and acidic levels. Remember to always water your plants, and don't forget to check the weather. In EO Show, I'm Nelly Lopez, KOAM News.
Well, plants do require a lot of work and attention, so make sure to always check up on them throughout the season. Well, coming up later, big changes are coming for Venezuela.
Colombia is bracing for an influx of refugees after the capture of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela over the weekend. I'm Steve Harrigan in Cucuta, Colombia. That story ahead.
Give me a call.
Scammers are now using fake jury duty calls to steal thousands from victims. Connor Hansen has the warning signs and prevention tips everyone needs to know.
They took over $7,000 and then they tried to take another $7,000.
That second request for money was the moment Elise from Charleston realized she had been scammed. And she's not alone. A recent AARP report shows nearly 9 in 10 adults have experienced some form of fraud.
The three things that we see most frequently is scamming on phone calls. Then there's the email scam, and they may get texts on their phones with those links that may be malicious.
In Elise's case, it was a 2-hour phone call claiming she had missed federal grand jury duty and needed to pay a fine to avoid jail time. Luckily, she was able to stop the money from being sent. Still, Americans lose billions to scams each year.
They're very sophisticated and complicated, and they know so much.
Never trust, always verify.
AT&T's cybersecurity expert says scams can happen to anyone, but older Americans are often easier targets.
They're using more and more modern technology, especially with seniors, that they may not be as up to speed about the latest threats.
According to Pew Research, 32% of adults 50 to 64 have been a victim of at least one scam, just slightly higher than any other age groups. For adults 65 and older, that number dips to 29%, making prevention key.
Just let it go to voicemail or just don't answer it. If it's something that important, they will try to get in touch with you through email because usually institutions have multiple contacts for you.
It's also vital to avoid clicking any text or email links without verifying the sender. And make sure you have strong passwords that are different for each account or website. Still, many older Americans may be apprehensive to use digital password managers. Experts say it's okay to write it down.
Don't actually write down the password itself, but write down something about the password. So only you know what that password is.
Elise says she won't be answering calls from unknown numbers anymore, and that's her advice to anyone of any age.
Just don't ever call the number they give you. Don't click anything. Don't respond to any emails.
Experts say if you think you have been scammed, the first thing you should do is call the bank or credit card company. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Up next, a new grant program works to ensure local communities have access to locally grown food. New Growth receives a $2 million grant from the Patterson Family Foundation to build local food supply chains in both Missouri and Kansas. The funding provides technology assistance to farm businesses and specialty crop growers, plus business counseling to help farmers bring their products to market and join local supply chains. With the grant money, New Growth hopes to help up to 500 small businesses. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Armored vehicles secure the Colombia border amid Venezuela political chaos. And former VP nominee Tim Walz abandons his governor re-election campaign after fraud investigations in Minnesota.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The Colombian military is ramping up its presence along the border with Venezuela as the region braces for what comes after the ouster of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Fox News' Steve Harrigan has the latest.
At this border crossing, there is one thing different today: the presence of Colombian military armored personnel carriers. They're here to make sure the situation remains stable after the weekend capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Colombia is usually the first stop for Venezuelans fleeing the country, with more than 3 million now living here. If there's more violence inside Venezuela, here is where they're likely to come. So officials are bracing for a potential humanitarian crisis.
Colombia has engaged in measures to protect the civilian population and preserve the stability of the border.
The military is also on high alert following a suggestion from President Trump that Colombian President Gustavo Petro could be the next to go, accusing him of supporting drug traffickers.
He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very
So there will be an operation by the U.S.
It sounds good to me.
Meanwhile, on the streets of Caracas, there has not been any sort of widespread violence, but we're seeing the start of what could be significant protests from Maduro's political party, calling for their former leader to come back.
We are here to support our president who was unjustly kidnapped by the empire.
And among those crossing the border today, there is real concern about what happens next.
It will be a slow change because apart from Maduro's capture, there was nothing else.
The flow of traffic across the border now is normal, but that could change if things go south in Venezuela. In Cucuta, Colombia, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Cincinnati police arrest a suspect after a break-in at Vice President J.D. Vance's home early this morning. The Secret Service detained the suspect at the scene. Vance and his family were not home, having returned to Washington, D.C. Several windows were broken, but investigators have not revealed what happened inside. Once a rising star in the Democratic Party, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is now announcing he's abandoning his re-election campaign. Rebecca Castor has the details.
In 2024, he stood next to Kamala Harris as the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. But now Tim Walz's political future is in doubt after he announced Monday he's no longer seeking re-election as the governor of Minnesota.
I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all.
Instead, Walz says he must focus on tackling the breathtaking scale of welfare fraud in his state that's recently been dominating headlines and getting him plenty of criticism from President Trump.
He's a stupid man, and he's a corrupt politician. And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion.
Minnesota faces enormous challenges this year, and I refuse to spend a single minute doing anything other than rising to meet this moment.
Numerous federal agencies are investigating the fraud involving child daycare centers in the state, and more than 90 people, most from the Somali community, have been charged. But lawmakers in Washington want to understand how this happened. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has invited Walz and his Attorney General to testify before Congress and says Walz ending his campaign changes nothing.
If they don't defend themselves, that's going to be an admission to guilt to everyone in Minnesota.
With Walz out the door, the governor's race in Minnesota is now an open field for Democrats, and Fox is told U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar is fielding calls encouraging her to run. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Austin is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, Atlanta opens its first taxpayer-funded grocery store. But will it succeed where Kansas City failed?
Culture and Spiva Center for the Arts.
Now there's just a few minor changes in our forecast heading into the evening. We have this warm front passing off to our northeast, and this is a surface trough here. You'll notice just off to the southwest there, some just light sprinkles initiating ahead of that surface trough. That's what we could see heading into tomorrow morning, just a brief sprinkle or two, very isolated. Cold front will pass though, and high pressure will move in. That'll take care of any precipitation or cloud cover heading into Tuesday afternoon. Here we are heading into Tuesday. There's our very isolated chance of a sprinkle or two. Cloud cover, you notice, is stationed just over the southeastern portions of the region. Clears out heading into the afternoon hours. There's that cold front, just passes, and our winds shift out of the northwest there, but it's going to be very insignificant in terms of affecting our temperature, as we're still going to see temperatures nearing the mid-60s heading into your Tuesday. Into Wednesday, that high pressure really sticks around for us. Winds shift back out of the south. Temperatures going to be heading into the upper 60s on Wednesday. We will see some cloud cover begin to move in, especially heading into the evening hours Wednesday. All that moisture really begins to build in, enhancing that opportunity to see some showers and thunderstorms heading into our Thursday. Timing is going to be very important here. Earlier models were showing a heavier band of showers and thunderstorms making its way through around 4 a.m. Now it's kind of lighter and more scattered, which could pose just a little bit of an issue in terms of seeing some more intense showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. If we do see a stronger band or wide coverage of showers and thunderstorms early morning Thursday, excuse me, that would take out some of the intensity from the next round of showers and thunderstorms that will be more widespread in the later morning and early afternoon hours. Now, timing's still a little bit variable on this, so the next 24 hours are critical in terms of getting some of this data in, but almost everyone is going to see some rainfall heading into Thursday and Friday. As far as the intensity there, anywhere from, I would say, heavy rain to low-end severe storms are possible, and the main threat would be wind and heavy rain, but we're keeping a close eye on that. As far as how much rainfall we could see with the system that begins to move in, well, check this out. Anywhere from a quarter inch upwards of 1.5 inches, which is really important for us as we are still in drought conditions right now. On the back edge of that system, you'll see behind me, we see the rainfall passing to our east. Here is the back edge of that low that begins to pull in, and that's the chance that we could see maybe even a few flurries. But ground temperature going to be way too warm to see any accumulation. It would just be a few flurries there. Heading into Saturday, 48 degrees, things clear up. Mostly sunny skies heading into Sunday and Monday there, back into the mid-50s. Some more reasonable temperatures for this time of year heading into the middle part of next week. We also have our chance of maybe our first winter system moving in late next week.
A lot to keep our eye on, that's for sure.
Yeah, the forecast is full of different phases of weather.
All right, thanks, Austin. Well, still ahead, Lamar and Carl Junction boys basketball face off on the court, plus a closer look at the 2025-26 Southeast boys basketball team. Ben McLeish has those stories and more up next in sports.
The Southeast Lancers boys basketball team is coming off a sub-state runner-up finish a year ago. And as they look to take the next step with the state tournament appearance, their chemistry will be key. While some teams use semester breaks as a chance to get away and rest before a busy second half of the season, Southeast had other ideas. Last week, head coach Wes Leach and the team had a Christmas party to celebrate the holidays and spend time with each other off the court.
They're probably one of the most selfless groups that I've coached. They are for each other, and they love each other. You know, all the kids showed up, had a really good time, and we got to talk about the positive things in each other's lives. The good thing about that is really none of it was kind of basketball related. It was a lot of the relationships they built with each other, checking in with each other. How's your mom? How's your dad? How's everybody going in your family? What did you do over break? Who did you get to see? Those were all the conversations that we heard.
I feel like that's something special that not a lot of people get that don't do a sport. And we actually got him a Christmas present, a basketball that we all signed. And I feel like that was just great. It really shows that our appreciation for him and his respect for us.
Spending time together away from basketball, like the Christmas party, is part of the team's emphasis on chemistry. While the ins and outs of the game are important for any team, Coach Leach says that the team's bond will help them take that next step.
Our X's and O's are good, but what makes a good team great is the fact that everybody's holding each other accountable. Everybody loves on each other a little bit. Everybody's invested in each other's lives, and everybody's really helping each other out. These kids right here embody the spirit of, that culture of, hey, we're all together. We are really moving all into one.
It's really like a brotherhood. I mean, we've all played with each other since we were little, so it's like we've played around each other forever. So we all know each other, what we like, what we don't like, and so really on the court it's just an extension of that.
The Lancers return to the court tomorrow with the road test against Yates Center. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Over in the Show Me State, Carl Junction and Lamar boys basketball duke it out tonight. The Bulldogs hosting the Tigers, and it's all Carl Junction early in this one. Second quarter, Deacon Endicott hurls it down court to Cooper Vadiz, who drives it to the basket and sinks the layup. The Bulldogs would stay on the attack. Brody Pant down low, passes it out to Maxon Shorter, who gives it to Vadiz. His three is nothing but net, and the Bulldogs take a 14-point lead. Now it's a 2-on-1 fast break for Carl Junction. JoJo Ballard finds who else? Cooper Vadiz for the wide-open layup as the Bulldogs begin to take over. A few possessions later, the Tigers looking to make something happen, but it's Vadiz with the steal. He takes it all the way for himself for the easy points as the Bulldogs cruise to the 78-39 win over the Tigers. Well, it's an exciting time for high school basketball, but I want to shift our attention to college basketball. Tomorrow, Missouri Southern and Pitt State duel off in a rivalry matchup. Both the boys and girls teams will be facing each other, so that should be an exciting day of basketball.
Oh, and each of those two teams have players from Pittsburgh High School too on their each team. So that'll be fun watching them
Yeah, lots of local players. It should be a good, exciting matchup. All four teams having a pretty good start so far to the season. They got to play each other, so let's see who comes out on top.
We'll be back with more news after this. Atlanta's mayor claims the city's first government-funded supermarket is finding early success since opening over the summer. Fox's Ashley Webster gives us an inside look at the grocery store.
Inside Atlanta's West Side, a new grocery store is officially open for business. Azalea Fresh Market. It is the city's first government-funded supermarket. Roughly $8 million in taxpayer-backed grants, loans, and cash have gone into this 20,000 square foot store, targeting an area long considered a food desert.
We want to be profitable. This is not something we are looking at running forever for subsidies.
Critics warn taxpayer-backed grocery stores don't always succeed, pointing to Kansas City, where a city-run supermarket shut down after years of losses. The KC Some Fresh Market, subsidized by the city to serve a low-income neighborhood, has faced financial losses, reports of crime, and declining operations. Despite tens of millions of dollars in public support, it lost nearly $900,000 last year alone.
It is my worldview that we really shouldn't be, as government, in the business of buying groceries on the shelves.
But city leaders here say access to food isn't just about groceries.
I believe that food is a human need, it's a necessity on Maslow's hierarchy of need. We're trying to get people food access so they can be productive citizens and they have a great quality of life.
Nearby private grocers will now have to compete to keep customers and prices in check.
Whether there is a taxpayer money or not, competition is good.
Atlanta leaders hope this model, publicly funded, privately operated, can work here and be replicated elsewhere, with the goal of taxpayers being repaid as the store grows. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani campaigned on city-run grocery stores, and already members of his team have talked with Atlanta operators about their approach, a hybrid approach that ultimately could provide an oasis in the food desert. Ashley Webster, Fox Business.
Up next, Greenland 2 takes audiences on a post-apocalyptic journey through Europe. We've got a preview. You know the old saying, it's the journey, not the destination. Well, the journey is a tough one for the family at the center of Greenland 2, Migration. Douglas Hyde has a preview of the apocalyptic thriller, which hits theaters this week.
Space agencies tracking the fragment are predicting an extinction level event. The greatest chance of survival are the bunkers in Greenland.
Surviving the apocalypse has been rough in Greenland 2 migration. The Garrity family has been living in a bunker since a comet strike devastated the Earth. Now they're forced to leave and look for a new safe haven to call home.
Our situation is getting worse. Do we think there's anywhere that's safe from all of this? We believe the crater walls prevent the radioactive storms from forming, making it a safe zone. There could be breathable air, drinkable water.
It's in southern France. How exactly are we going to get there?
How indeed. Morena Baccarin says their journey keeps the family and audiences on their toes.
There were a lot more bigger threats coming our way, so that was really cool, and we were able to shoot abroad in wonderful, beautiful locations. So visually it's incredibly stunning. It's really fun for people to see things like cities that they know underwater or like destroyed, and there's a voyeuristic aspect to that I think is really going to be fun for people to see.
It was a tough trek for the characters and the actors who play them. Baccarin admits this was the most grueling film shoot of her 25-year career.
You work every day for months, and I was covered in dirt for the majority of it, and we are constantly in motion, running, moving, getting somewhere. We were in a lot of different weird random locations, you know, top of mountains in Iceland and the beach in Iceland, getting into cold water, and just all of that was really, really excruciatingly exhausting.
We're going to keep going.
In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hott.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of animals in Germany enjoying tasty Christmas trees. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.